Round 50 on just one zombies map is boring, but doing it on every COD Zombies game in 24 hours and some additional added challenges on select games, now that's some content. So with that said, we're starting out on Der Eisendrock, where I went full turbo virgin mode and ran around killing zombies as quick as I possibly could for the first few rounds, not even starting the dragon heads until round 7. After a few minutes though, they were finished off and I did a bit of grave robbing and some arson and a bit of a dash of vandalism here and there. Since I was down near the rocket area anyway, I thought it was a good idea to go get my Ragnarok DG4 pieces. The Panzer on round 12 was not happy with me, but luckily a bit of toe licking was all I needed to go away for now. Round 15 saw us finally finish up the Stormbow and the Ragnarok DG4s. Now it's time to blast through rounds because we got a lot of zombies left to get through today, and these are games that I need to save time on right now. Sitting in this old high round spot brings back so many memories of 2016, but too bad it was kind of short-lived though, with me getting my ass beat on round 35 by the last few zombies of the round. Lesson learned though, time for me to use my other gun alongside the Stormbow. Guess I didn't learn too quickly though, because I downed again on round 37, and I kinda actually forgot as well how bad I am at Der Eisendrock. No idea why, but DE is just one of those maps that's a lot harder for me than it is for most other people. That's why it was probably a good decision for me to abandon that camping spot in favor of my more comfortable training area outside around the death ray, but my stupid mistakes have been costing me this entire game. That's why I guess it's a good thing that this map actually does have Hellhound rounds, because those save me a few minutes every single time they happen, alongside with reminding myself to hurry up because this is a time-based challenge. But then on round 45, my controller died, and it takes a few seconds for it to actually register that happens and pause the game, so I took another down. No worries though, just need to be careful for the last couple of rounds, and finally our luck actually turned around with round 49, especially it being the longest was more Hellhound rounds, securing our first of many round 50s. With quite a lot of time left on the clock, this was actually fairly quick. The final reg from World War II is next, and it's been a long time since I've done a high round here, and there's a lot of stuff to remember, so bear with me a little bit. I began opening up the bunker, spinning the mystery box, and getting weapons that I've never seen before, which is cool, but I don't really have any time to focus on them. At the end of round 7, I finished turning on the power and forgot we needed to kill a Brenner, which proved to be a lot more bullet spongy than I remember him being. Now we take his decapitated head and use it as a bougie ass flashlight to break open a rock statue to reveal a battery. Zombies' logic is impeccable as always. Next thing on the list is to open Pack-a-Punch and progress through some of the casual main quest, because it's actually required to upgrade any of the Tesla guns. I don't know why they made that decision, but it is what it is. I then needed to defend a clock tower for like 5 entire minutes from every zombie in a 50-mile radius of this place, plus the odd Brenner showing up, which will tickle your butthole. This map in general is a lot harder than I remember it being, but especially this step. I finally got it done though, and I went to upgrade my 9mm SAP, the baddest bitch in the pistol category. Finishing up our Tesla upgrade, I need to bring this giant battery to a new area and of course defend it until I get a gun barrel that comes from this machine. Only 19 rounds into the game, we finally got the Midnight Tesla gun, which is really cool, and now it's time to vibe in this corner of spawn because it's the fastest strategy on the final rake. You're technically supposed to use the purple hurricane variant of this, but I have no idea how to build it, and time is money, so I don't really have time to look up guides. By the late 30s, it was actually getting hectic during the rounds with the combo of bomber zombies and whistlings constantly being shoved down your throat. I do have somewhat of a soft spot for World War II, but regardless of what anyone says, the whistlings ruined a large portion of the gameplay experience for me. They're always in your face, and they aren't even that vulnerable at their supposed weak spot, quote unquote. Before I ran further though, I lost my last quick revive on round 46 and was genuinely terrified of game overing so late with so much time spent on one map. The whistlings that I mentioned were actually taking multiple magazines to kill, and just overall it was rough going. But luckily we persevered with the help of the sewer fire trap, and taking just a few extra seconds per horde to be 100% confident nothing would catastrophically go wrong, and finally, poetically, I began round 50 teabagging the corpse of a whistling who took like 50 shots to kill. Now this is actually where I made a big tactical error. I actually had already used a lot of time on just 2 maps and a lot of pausing the game, but for some reason I I thought Call of the Dead would be a great map to head to for Black Ops 1. Notoriously one of the longest round 50s that you can do in all of zombies, especially if you aren't prepared for what it throws at you. I'm going to need to have my shit together because this map makes or breaks the entire challenge, which of course means I get Scavenger on round 6, and that sounds really good, but because I want to keep my M1911, it also means that I need to somehow gather points using a wonder weapon that can easily one-shot kill me and a pistol with almost no ammo. So on round 7, after a bit of saving, the executive decision was made to just buy PhD Flopper first so we don't waste a good opportunity on this game. By round 10, we finally got enough for Juggernog, but almost got killed by a zombie as we drank the perk, which would have been utterly heartbreaking. Of course, after this, it was our first priority to buy Quick Revive, and once again, it was time to get blasting through rounds. And of course, because I'm on that Sigma Male grind set, this game was played online with the Easter eggs completed, meaning every time the George Romero is killed, he leaves behind a Wonder Waff for us to indulge on. For those of you that don't know, if you haven't done the Easter egg before on Call of the Dead, then he drops a 60-second crappy death machine, so it's a billion% recommended to do the Easter egg before you go for a high round. The only downside of the Wonder Waff is it's useless against George himself once he respawns, and it's the only gun that you can use while you have it, so you can't actually swap around your weapons and keep its ammo. Once it does run out of ammo, it goes bye-bye for a little while until you kill George again. So with that said, for the next little while, I would just repeat the process of using the Wonder Waff until it's empty, actually using my Scavenger and the Sallies until George is dead, and just repeat the cycle. After enough times, I became a perkaholic, which is basically the Zoomer version of alcoholism, but that kind of reminds me of my uncles. Round 43 brought my first down in the game, and it made me straight up panic because we're 2.5 hours into this game alone already. I even almost got windmilled by a zombie who came from absolutely nowhere, and in all honesty, he should have killed me. With the second chance at life though, I made my way around gathering my perks once again and got back to business. By now, it was taking 3 upgraded scavenger shots to kill a single zombie, and will soon spike to about 5, which means that those Wonder Waffs are getting more and more important by the minute. And only 3.5 hours into this game, we finally told George that his services were no longer required, fuck his dad, and froze to death on round 50. We jumped from Black Ops 1 to Cold War baby, and somehow I didn't hit record on my game until round 26, which is just brilliant and the most me thing to possibly do. I was doing a melee only game using the dual wield size, which I hope is somewhat validated by the fact that I still only have them and my fist as a weapon, so hopefully you guys just believe me on this. On top of the fact that now this is the more difficult part of the game though, so not much of value is even missed. By round 30, my weapon was still one-hit killing, even though it's not a good strategy to use it that often anymore because an entire horde of zombies swinging at me kinda drains my armor very quickly. On round 37, I downed because I fucked around and found out with a Megaton who was definitely out for blood that day. That actually kinda woke me up, and I realized that a stupid down like that could be an easy game over. So I began using the Casimir grenades, which is basically a Gersh device, and my PhD Flopper slide to go through the rounds. An effective PhD slide can actually kill 15 to 20 zombies, so that is baller as hell. What isn't baller though is when it fails to explode and you take it down like this and it crushes your soul. Oh well, round 50 done, GG easy, and round 50 was also a Plague Hound round, which means we can spare a couple of minutes to go and exfil. All I had to do is throw like 2 Casimir mechanisms and jump into the helicopter with Big Cutie Raptor 1. Okay, so full transparency here, I wasted a disgusting amount of time on World of War that I just shouldn't have. Shi No Numa started off as it always does, with you opening a door, spinning the mystery box, and hoping that you get the Wonder Waff somewhat early on. Luckily I got it pretty early, and also I accurately predicted which of the huts would be Juggernog on only my second try. My final set of purchases was double tap for the Hellhounds plus some speed cola just to reload quicker, and let's get to some high round looping. I would just start the round on this bridge over near the flogger, wait for some zombies to spawn, and then run around in a circle. It's a fairly effective strategy, with me getting to round 318 a few weeks ago after only a couple games of trying. That's why I figured that this would be a big cakewalk and maybe make up a few minutes from me being stupid on Call of the Dead, but nope, not at all. I apparently paused for 2 entire hours, then unpaused and died on round 41 to a very classic World of War down. Yeah, that's very fun, and after a few more failed attempts, I paused more for some reason and spent another hour doing God knows what, and once I could apparently be bothered to finish up this map, I unpaused, avoided taking it down to some straight up bullshit, and finished off World of War by standing in the flogger trap. Which apparently doesn't kill you, if you just don't jump into it and you can just walk right through it. That's really weird. Then we need to immediately jump into Black Ops 4 and are in desperate need of a quick map to make up some of this lost time. Probably dumb of me then to watch the Tag Der Toten intro cutscene for like 5 minutes so that I could reminisce and cry, but it's fine. Time to speedrun now. I spent a few minutes gathering all of the necessary parts from around the map to hand off to Pablo, turn some cranks, which is always thrilling gameplay, and gathered some quick points. On round 12, I popped a perk up elixir to get myself 4 extra perks, which isn't great, but also not terrible. I was hoping for quick revive, but time slip and bandolier bandit are acceptable right now. Immediately after this, I headed to upgrade my gun, and Tag Der Toten, being a big homie, happened to be shining on the golden pack-a-punch, which means that it can fully upgrade your weapon in one go. Taking as full advantage as I possibly could, I pack-a-punch both my shotguns, and this leaves us set for the rest of the game. Time to play one of the fastest strategies in all of zombies. The upgraded trebuchet shotgun is basically a grenade launcher, and it actually deals more damage than it needs to one-shot zombies forever. That combined with over 100 shots of ammo actually makes it more effective than any wonder weapon in Tag Der Toten. Some things can just get hectic with it running out of ammo a little bit and using the Hellfire grenades for a bit of extra damage, but largely this is the fastest way to play Tag Der Toten that there is. You just spam the trebuchet over and over and over again and zombies just die. The Ragnarok DG4s also help here too, because them versus a one window strategy kinda just goes burr. In just over an hour, we were able to complete Black Ops 4 in a real clutch-out moment that we were really needing. All good things need to end though, because it's Vanguard time, and luckily we can play Shi no Numa, but it's still Vanguard. Of course, I'm going to use the most overpowered thing in this entire game, the Einhorn shotgun, because hell no, I don't care about making Vanguard look too easy. By round 10, I had purchased the first tier of each perk, and I actually pack-punched once, which isn't a terrible pace for not even remembering very much of what's going on here. I also picked up a gun from the armored zombies just in case there was an insta-kill, and I wanted to mix things up a little bit, but largely I'm still going to be using the Einhorn. Our training area is the added dig site that's new to Vanguard, since it's a somewhat large open area and actually makes me feel like I'm not on Shi no Numa for the 8th time in zombies. But just for the absolute memes of it, in the late 20s I actually got a Covenant, which is an ability on top of everything else that you already have, and this particular one actually deals damage to anything within a certain distance of you. Because of course it's really broken, I chose to just run around barely using my gun for a very long time, and with an insta-kill you could literally drop your controller for 30 seconds and take no damage. It's an absolute joke, but it made me kind of smile actually, because it's just so ridiculous. I was even able to pause, which, wow, I know, kind of a crazy feature to include in a game. It only took 6 months for Vanguard to get it. And for the last 10 rounds or so, I bought this absolute unit of a war machine from the crafting table, and I unleashed fury on all zombies that were in the area. Between this and the constant damage Covenant, it just felt kind of unfair. Aside from the super sprinter zombies, who are absolutely way too aggressive, I've never been a fan of them in any zombies game, but you know what, we can finally get done with Vanguard after this exfil. Or not, because holy shit, I got swarmed like a baby near a pit bull. Still got the round 50 though. Only 2 more games left to go, and we're on Zombies in Spaceland. What a poggers experience that makes me very happy. As expected, after taking in the sights and sounds, it was time to spin the mystery box, and one specific gun that all the homies appreciate is what we're looking for. But before that, we're switching over to footage from my Twitch stream where I finished this challenge live. I actually stream quite a lot, so come watch me or else. But must be the stream luck, because only after a few minutes of the stream being up, we pulled the Mauler Sentinel from the magic wheel. If you're someone who's unfamiliar with the Sentinel variant of the Mauler, then you should get very familiar very quickly. It fires 6 shots per bullet and it hits like a fucking truck. So obviously I upgraded it and began working on some arcane cores for a bit of extra damage to my weapon. After a lot of work, I finished the green one and I didn't really like it, to be honest. I asked chat how to double pack punch and they said I need to finish the Easter eggs, so fuck that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Time to just get the wind core and brute force my way to round 50. Alright, yeah, I did take it down, but that's only because 2 brutes decided to run a train on me from front and behind. After rebounding, I put them both in the dirt like it's Kill Bill Volume 3. We then finished up our wind core, which gives a small damage boost alongside a larger damage radius. And now it's the point where we need to start absolutely sprinting for round 50. We only have a little over 2 hours left in this challenge and still need to play Black Ops 2 after this game. That's why this down during round 44 absolutely shook me to my soul, because a GG here means that we definitely fail. Grabbing Juggernog was also super sketchy, so I actually used one of my explosive touch cards to keep me from going down again as I got my perks. No more quick revives remaining, but fate was shining on us and nothing was going to stop us now. With only 77 minutes left, we finished Infinite Warfare and we're on to the last game, Black Ops 2. I needed to pick the absolute fastest possible Black Ops 2 map, which is Die Rise, but when I signed into my Xbox profile, it was nowhere to be seen. Without time to check for it or re-download it, I just started up Buried because 50 rounds in 73 minutes here is definitely possible, I thought. Everything needs to be perfect and thought out ahead of time here, and we might just finish in time. On round 5, I freed Leroy from his cage and had him open up Juggernog for some extra security. I then had him slam down the mystery box so it couldn't move and waste more time. Keeping him busy, his next job was to build the sonic resonator for me above Juggernog, and after that build the wind turbine in the town hall for later on in the game. The mystery box finally handed over the paralyzer, so I went to buy quick revive and spammed the ray gun Mark II at whatever moved so rounds would go a little bit quicker. 1 hour and 32 rounds left to go. It's going to be really close. I went to pack-a-punch both my weapons and took it down after a very embarrassing sequence where I fell down the hole in the stairs multiple times. Not too much harm though, because I recovered quickly and started pushing through these rounds. Ideally, we won't start using the resonator until the 40s because it can cause slower staggered spawns, so for now I was just going to use the paralyzer and the Mark II. But in my panic, I got greedy and went for a nuke that I really shouldn't have. Then after getting up, I got 2 slapped for the game over. About 90 minutes later, we completed Die Rise. Now go watch this video about me reaching round 100 with only an M1911.